Our next speaker is Paddy from 350, and he's going to talk about transitioning away from fossil fuels and the role of the gentailers in trying to stop that. Let's give Paddy a hand.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Geddes tōku ingoa, o 350 Pōneke aho. Thanks Kit, and Martin and Francisca, thanks for inviting me here today. I'm a volunteer with the global climate activist organisation 350.org. 350 refers to a safe level of CO2 in the atmosphere being 350 parts per million. Now, latest count, I think we're at 412, so we're past that point. Safe. So I won't speak very long. 350 has been in the climate space it was created to inform and to bring about change to address the climate crisis. This is about 10 years ago. We've been very active in the divestment movement, trying to get people to take their money out of fossil fuel investments and put them somewhere else. So that's what I've been very involved with for the past 7 years. Recently we've changed our approach, and what we're doing is we are highlighting what we see as an issue that a lot of people won't perceive, and it relates to our move away from fossil fuels to take up renewable energy. Now, we're lucky in New Zealand. Relative to other countries, we have a vast amount of renewable energy resource in New Zealand. And there's all sorts of reasons for that. We are blessed in many ways with natural resources, and around the middle of the 20th century, we as New Zealanders, the government and the public, invested large amounts in renewable energy generation. So we have a lot of hydro, we're bringing on geothermal, wind, etc. So as a result of that, our electricity grid, our resource, is actually highly renewable relative to other countries. But the problem is we still consume an awful lot of fossil fuels, oil, natural gas and coal. I think we all know this. And everyone is saying to meet our climate targets as New Zealand under the Paris Agreement, we need to massively increase our renewable energy quota. And you'll see that the politicians of all hues have got policies around increasing renewable energy investment. And that's, I think we can do this through speeding up consent times. Others have different views. But I guess what I just wanted to highlight today is that we have kind of an invisible handbrake on this transition that we need to undertake. And it's to do with the way that the New Zealand electricity market operates. And in particular, the way that the four large gentailers, these are the generator retailers in the New Zealand market, how they operate. What's interesting is that household power bills over the last 14 years have increased by 42%. At the same time, well actually since 2014, you may remember when the government decided it was going to sell off its stakes in these large generator retailer entities, they have distributed 8.7 billion in dividends, which is actually 3.7 billion more than they made in profits. So they've actually, the only way you can make that work is if you eat into your cash reserves. and though it really should have either been decreasing the prices that people had to pay for the electricity, or should have been invested in renewable energy. So a lot of people don't realise this, that actually these generator retailers, of which the government is a 51% shareholder, have been fleecing the New Zealand public for a number of years. Yeah, this is pretty, most people don't realise this. And they talk of a good talk, you know. They say we are focused on climate change and we are undertaking the investments that we need to transition away from fossil fuels. What people don't realise is actually that these generators benefit from fossil fuels being in the market. It's quite complicated, but to basically, if there's a little bit of fossil fuel generation in the market, everyone else gets that price, and so they, even the hydro generators like Meridian, they benefit from having that fossil fuel component in the market. So there's something seriously wrong. There's a disincentive for them to invest in new renewable generation, and that is actually quite obvious. The number of these gentailers have sat on resource consents they've had for 10 years and not proceeded with them. And why is that? Because there's no incentive for them to do it, because it would effectively reduce their profits. There are also other situations where, for example, Meridian got caught spilling water out of their hydro dam to artificially keep the price of power high. This is one act, added to about $80 million to the overall cost of energy in that time. So they got caught and hauled before the Electricity Authority in what they called an undesirable trading situation. But it's basically gaming the market, gaming the situation. So there's lots of scurrilous behaviour going on, and 350 is trying to highlight this and force the government to take steps to reform it. They have the power. They can regulate, and they're 51% shareholders in these companies. So that's something they can get on with doing. Just speeding up consents is not going to solve the problem, unfortunately. Yeah, they should be sped up, the process, but what we need is not just the consents, we need them actually to build the renewable energy generation they say they're going to build. So if you're interested in learning more about this, you can just Google homegrown energy 350 and you'll come to a very interesting report called Generating Scarcity, where we've us and the Council of Trade Unions have dug into this issue, and we're working on lobbying government to make the changes that are necessary to make the electricity system fairer, juster, and get us to 100% renewable energy as soon as we possibly can. So thank you for your time. Tēnā koutou katoa.